Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. I'm Wild Chevy, and this is the show that we talk about everything in the tabletop hobby world. I am joined by my buddy Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
My skin is on fire, Alan. Why does it burn? Why does it burn?
That's what you get for being out in what is called the sunlight.
It burns. I don't like it.
Now you know how you tell how I feel.
That's why they all wear helmets. I spent
So, got
nine
a little
hours.
sun there, hey?
Oh, I spent 9 hours. So we're in our new house, and now that the weather has finally gotten warm, it means that I can stop doing indoor projects and start doing outdoor projects. And I spent about 9 hours in the sun yesterday working on the yard.
Oh, that'll set back your hobby time.
Ironically, let's just jump into hobby time. So, ironically, I did get a bit done. I got this little all built up. This is a Alke Nisei. She's a Corvus Belli Infinity model from. She's an Aleph Steel Phalanx gal. So she is a very very anime, in my opinion. But I like what she brings to the table. So I've got her all. She's all cleaned up. She's all put together, and I've got her base on. So
Nice.
yeah, I always look at it. It's like it's your very typical like sand and gravel with PVA glue down. But man, it looks good. Like I mean, once you get it all painted up, it's no like resin sculpted over the top, put it on a plinth sort of thing. But like when you get them all put together, it looks good. I mean, I guess there's a reason why everybody does it, but
I mean, it's great for the table.
yeah, and that's I don't plan on winning any awards with this gal, but I'll make sure she looks nice. I'll get her primed up here in the next day or so, and get her up and running. So I could try and put my steel phalanx boots to your throat this time.
Yeah, this week, I didn't do much painting or anything like that. I did buy some wood blocks for a few painting projects that don't have bases. They're the more highly detailed figs and all that.
Mm.
Not really the
Well,
gaming
like
figs.
what are like Kingdom Death sort of stuff, or
I got I've a mini from Twisted
oh,
and
okay.
a few from Figon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're very very well looking miniatures, but they're not tied to a game, so they're going to go on different type of bases.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna use them kind of like little mini plinths.
Yep, and yeah, I mean, $4 at Hobby Lobby, good price for a whole bag of
Yeah,
plinths. And
can't beat
then
that. How big are they?
they are 1 1/4
Okay.
cubes.
All right.
So yeah, real good
Sorry.
buy. And what else? Yeah, speaking of steel phalanx, I did bring up my QK list this week and played at the local game store, and just wanted to. Went against steel phalanx and ODD and no incapacitation. Really, really hurts.
It does. They do that well. Like, what kind of list or like who did he bring?
Let's see. I believe he had Achilles, and I'm not sure what the other models were, but it was
He needed other models.
yeah. It was just I mean, if I brought my regular Hawk Islam list with viral snipers and flamethrowers, I would have been a little bit more happier. But was my QK with Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. definitely different way of playing. That -6 ODD is a pain in the butt.
Yes, it is. Without a doubt, it is. So, but that's why all the troops are so expensive, right?
Yeah, but it was. I wish I got a. I really wish I got a photo. It was a Sharkmano laser, the uh, full American style board.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
awesome,
was
awesome stuff to play on.
was this over at Endzone? Are they doing kind of their Infinity Night?
Yeah, our locals are trying to bring up the meta again, so we're gonna actually have a regular gaming night and maybe even product. So
Ooh, nothing brings people out like product.
yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's you really want to support your local store, but if they don't order stuff in for you to buy, it's real hard.
Well, I mean, yeah, it it is darn hard for us to find Infinity stuff here in Utah. So, at least of any quantity that's worth exploring. It'll be like, ooh, hey, a remote and one of their old nasty figures.
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to have good stock. But speaking of Infinity, we have this bad boy that came up this week.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, Aquila Guard for Pano. Another Angel Heraldez masterpiece paint job. Nothing like a guy in a big badass suit of armor and a cloak.
Yeah, like they're trying to give him like a trench coat sort of thing. You can see out of the front. And I mean, we accept silliness in this world, but I'm not sure I buy it. Like when I first of all look at it, I think it looks awesome and cool. But they have to make the jacket so thick that it looks kind of weird to me after I look at it for a few minutes.
I can
You know,
kind of
like
see that, but it's done a lot
like the
better.
lapel, the lapel area specifically.
Yeah, but it's done a lot better than I've seen other ones. Like we were looking at Toughest Girls of the Galaxy earlier this month, and Wild West Exodus. Their cloaks are very thick. They don't come to a taper at all at the ends. It's like very prominent, and that's the only thing I have against uh, digital printing sculpts. Is you have to make sure that that cloth looks like cloth, not like they're draped in blue foam.
But I think you're going to see that problem even with just a regularly sculpted model. You have to make that so thick for casting and production purposes. Otherwise it's not going to survive being removed from the mold.
True.
So, and in certain cases, like I know what you're talking about with Wild West Exodus, but it doesn't bother me as much there because everybody's got those coats and jackets, and it's like their style. Is to be big and chunky and bulky, whereas Infinity tends to be a little bit more sleek. So I think that's why it kind of sticks out in my eye.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and great looking figure. So I mean, another one for those Pano folks.
Yeah, he looks sharp. They definitely want you to play Pano, don't they?
You know what? It, for the tags, I would play Pano, but everybody plays Pano.
Do they? Well,
Uh,
like over there I do,
well,
but I
I
don't see a
guess
lot of Pano over here in the States.
uh, maybe it's just because with the starter box, Operation Ice Storm, you have two choices: Nomads, Pano. So if you're
Yeah,
getting people started in, you're gonna that's those two choices you're gonna see more in your game store.
this is true. I think they've made it easier for people to get into Pano and Nomads. The interesting thing is there was an interview with Carlos Torres, and it was in Spanish, and so I had to run it through Google Translator, so a lot of it didn't make sense. Like, you had to kind of read a whole paragraph and then kind of put together what they were saying because the individual sentences didn't make sense. But they actually talked about how eventually they do have other starter boxes planned, with other factions. Now, that being said, those are a number of years out.
True.
Because they're like, Ice Storm still has so much momentum behind it that they're not going to do anything to kill that. And so, if anything, those other boxes that they had planned that had other factions are just pushed back. So, it was just something fun I read, and the rest of it was all kind of general stuff that you would already kind of figure out. But what were they saying? They said that they could create a new figure from just about scratch within just like a few days. And it's really just a question of their approval process. He said, like, now if there's a problem with that miniature or they don't like the design of it, he's like, it could go on for weeks, if not months, as they iterate on it. But some of them, and I think it was like one of the Yaogats or something like that, was literally made like in 2 days.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting for Magariva Guard, so.
We'll see when that ever happens. It'll be amazing, but
It will. I don't care how much it's going to cost me. I'm going to be like, hey, I'll buy it from. This is like one time I'd be like, you guys do a pre-order system on your website. I will order it.
I might too, just to have it.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I would love it on my desk at work.
You're in an office where you could get away with that. I'm not sure I would let that sit in my office on my desk. I'm in Cubicleville.
You
Then
got
again, I have
plenty
some
of other
other
nerdy
expensive
things.
toys there.
Yeah, you
I got
all
other.
the nerdy things.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I could get away with it. So I could
Now,
always.
speaking of nerdy things, have you seen the Star Wars trailer?
I don't. Okay, all right. I'm gonna step back and be serious for a minute. I have a really hard time with this trailer because how do I say this? It looks really amazing, like so amazing. But then at the same time, I'm old enough to remember when the trailers came out for Episode 1, and all we saw was like flashes of pod racing and double-sided lightsabers and Darth Maul, and I just remember thinking, this is so great. This is going to be the most amazing movie ever done. And then it was such a complete letdown. And I'm feeling that way again about this, and I'm afraid of letting myself be hurt again.
Pain leads to anger. Anger leads to hate.
I know, and I'm trying to be very zen about it. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's a Crush Star Destroyer back there.
I saw that and I was like, yeah. Chin hit the desk. I was like, yes.
Because everybody has the same reaction. Like, you're following the little speeder going along. You're like, okay. So you're like, oh, hey, look, there's a little X-Wing there. Whoa, my gosh, what is that?
I would just, even if if it was a fan trailer, a fan made or something, I would just love to watch the footage of that thing landing or crashing, as it were, on that planet.
Oh, try watching The Force Unleashed. You get to rip a Star Destroyer out of orbit. And it looks really good.
But yes, Christmas can't come soon enough for that one.
But have you seen some of the concept art for the different characters and stuff?
Indeed.
We we all thought it was the girl who was kind of like climbing around the junkyard planet. We figured she was like Luke or Leia's daughter, and she was going to be the next Jedi. But it's the brother, the former stormtrooper who's packing the lightsaber. So we'll see.
And then we have the universe's greatest pilot in an X-wing. So
Yeah, according to him. Congratulations, we've now found our egotistical maniac for this set of films.
but you know what? If they can, just from like this trailer and the previous trailer, just watching the ships fly around will just be amazing. I don't care whatever the rest of the movie is. They could just have just ship to ship battles, and I'd be okay.
Yeah, I could see the Millennium Falcon dogfighting TIE fighters for 2 hours straight. You don't need a plot, and I'll be happy.
So I mean, yeah, that'd be great. And for those playing Star Wars X-wing
Yep.
or Armada, more stuff to buy.
Fantasy Flight Games has already said that they have license to build stuff off of Episode 7.
Nice.
So expect it to be inbound.
Just means, you know what? I mean, we have conventions. Convention season is in full swing.
Yeah, we're going to start seeing a lot more of this stuff come out as, like Salutes coming up. I think we're going to see a lot there. And Gen Con will be in a few months. We'll be seeing that. We'll probably be seeing maybe a little bit of stuff out of Feast of Blaze this year.
Be interesting. I mean, like we've heard, there's been several companies talking about what they're bringing to Salute.
Oh, Alan, I left it open for you to go into the main topic, but
I
you
know.
just didn't pick it up. Like, this was our chance to look really cool and professional, and everybody like, wow, look at that transition. That was amazing.
Yeah, you were
And I was
talking
even
about
off
Drop
like,
Zone Commander earlier, and I was like, I want to talk about Drop Zone Commander.
okay, fine, let's talk about Drop Zone Commander. We'll make fun of Feast later. Drop Zone Commander. Go.
Salute, Drop Zone Commander. We're probably going to see a nice preview of the new game, the ship-to-ship fleet battle game.
And this is Drop Fleet Commander instead of Drop Zone Commander, right?
Correct. And we saw the ship at the last couple of conventions that he scratch built, and that's just a small little, comparative to the game, that's just a small little Corvette. So we're going to see, I mean, being Drop Zone Commander, we're going to see some high quality miniatures coming from this.
Hey, see, what I'm really interested in is like Spartan games, because Spartan has come at this the other direction. With Firestorm Armada, they're on their second or 2.2 of their rules, and they've started coming up with their 15 millimeter game now that ties into it. So Spartan is working from this way and going this way, and Hawk is going from this way going this way. And I don't really see them as like competitors against companies like Corvus Belli or GW or Privateer Press. I really see that those two guys or those two companies are really going to be going head to head for people's dollars. And I know personally, like, they're vying for my dollars right now.
Sure.
So, and I think Spartan has the jump on them a little bit because they actually have both of their games up and running. And I like their style, but at the same time, Spartan has a really hard time with their rules. Like, even with their 2.0, their book was horrible. Like, every set of rules that they come out with, well, I don't want to say the rules are horrible, they're very poorly edited. Like,
But I mean, that like I said, like we were talking about Myth earlier this week. Myth was, you could tell that whoever wrote it really knew what they were wanting to do with the game. But
Mhm.
when they released it to the general public, we're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. And then it took a lot of edits, took a lot of fan um, from the community to get some edits going, and 2.0 a lot better.
True, true. We speaking of which, we need to get Myth Night going on here. I'm trying to talk Natalie into playing with us. Uh, but yeah, so Spartan is kind of taking that same thing of let's get everything out there as quickly as possible. You know, we'll release facts and updates as needed. And I guess that's working. They're in business. They're making more money than I am. I guess. Versus Hawk on the other hand, they move a little bit slower, but when their stuff comes out, it is polished till it shines.
I mean, that could just be too that their main designer creator was very much an engineer before, and
Mm-hmm.
you know how engineers are. They like to be very uh, precise about what they create.
We are the most anal retentive creatures on the planet. But yeah, so it's interesting to see these two companies competing with very different styles of doing so. And I think that this next year is going to be very, very interesting. To see as Spartan, their ground game, and Hawk, kind of takes to the sky. And I think that Hawk they need to hit it out of the park with this one. You know, um, Spartan games looks really. There's a lot of fleet games out there now that all look really good and play well, and so you can't get by with just good looks alone. So they're going to need to have some impressive rules to go along with it. And they're going to need to make a big splash too, I think.
Time will tell. All right,
Well,
so let's
so
talk
hopefully
about
we'll see more
that.
salute.
Yeah, so let's talk about that nice little slow pitch you gave me earlier.
It was like this was Top Gun, and we're both shirtless and all oiled up. I sit there and I set up the ball for you, and then I just wait as you're like standing back there, talking to Kelly McGillis. I'm like, okay, all right.
You see the MiG, and then we're coming in.
'Cause we were inverted and
Inverted. I wonder how many people would get that reference.
it doesn't matter because I love that movie so much.
Sure. All right, Feast of Blades. I know you went last year and the year before. Is it
Yep.
going to go down this year?
That is a great question. Um, we all assumed it would. 2 years ago it was well attended. Last year it was well attended as well. If anything, it was bigger than the year before. However, we haven't heard anything about it. Now, granted, we're about 6 months, and before we go any further, let's say this: we're still 6 months out from an event. We're halfway between the last event and the next event, and so there's still plenty of time for things to happen with them. But we're starting to get some really unusual signals.
Yeah, it's very weird. Their Facebook page hasn't been updated since January. Last thing we know is that there is a, a proposed date for 2015 and that they're going to be War Machine Qualifier. But we haven't seen a lockdown.
Yeah, and so let's talk about their Facebook page for a minute. Let me let's just screen share here. So let's take a look at their. Oh, this is from a year ago, a little over a year ago, January 13th, 2014. And you can see, I mean, even when it isn't in regards to their event, they're still posting something every few days. You know, they're saying, "Hey, we're still here. Hey, we're working on stuff. Hey, by the way, look, there's qualifiers. Look, in March we already had qualifiers going on at different places. In April we had qualifiers happening, and it just went on and on and on as these guys were telling everybody that, hey, we're here, we're working on stuff. They're, you're gonna, it gave everybody a good sense of what happened, of what's going on. This year, the last we've heard from them was January 14th, and it was just them showing a promo picture from Hordes.
Yeah, and even
So
their web
we've been
page
over.
is very. I mean, even their web page is very defunct from the last year's event. So it's kind of odd. You really
Well,
would want to see a convention sending out something saying, "Hey, we want you to be involved. Make some plans."
yeah. And don't get me wrong, it was better than what they had previously, but their web pages have never been very good, and their web pages have always lagged behind. But yeah, for them to go 4 months without a single post is very, very suspicious. So, and I know I'm not the only one thinking about this. We were actually thinking about this independently of each other.
Well, because it's an event. I mean, Denver is a or it's a very big city in the Midwest, and to have an event like that. I mean, we had the LVO earlier this year. I mean, that's kind of like the start of for us Midwest folks. LVO is the start of the convention season. Feast of Blades will be the end, but we don't see anything there. And you really want to plan out your event and your time schedule.
True, very true. Um, but yeah, I've been talking with a lot of other people, and so we're not the only ones who are concerned, and we're not the only ones thinking about it. And if anybody out there has any kind of information about what's going on, please feel free to let us know, because I want nothing more than to be sitting here and telling you guys a Feast of Blade is happening in 6 months, because I will be there for that. And I want this to happen, as much as everybody else. I don't want to point fingers and say that they suck and that they're dead and they're for whatever reason. I don't want that. I want these guys to succeed because I love going there. So if anybody out there knows anything about it, please let us know, and we will shout it from the rooftops. Because right now all I saw was, I mean, let's be honest, last year was not very well organized. So they had poor organization last year. There was some controversy over who was winning their tournaments. There was a little bit of interesting things going on with a few of the vendors, and now it's silent, and that's scaring me. That signals nothing good.
And yeah, I mean, I'm part of a group trying to organize a convention here in Utah, and we're
What is
busting
this
our butt.
convention's name?
This
Let's
is
stop, because we've had questions about this before. What is their name?
the convention is called the Salt City Gladiator Games. It'll be held here at the 21st to the 23rd of August in Farmington, Utah.
Perfect.
3-day event. It'll cover tournaments for War Machine, 40K, Infinity, Dark Age, and Malifaux. And
That's
then
a
that's the five main systems, and then we'll have our open area for anything else anybody wants to play.
outstanding. And you guys have, I've seen you guys have worked with press gangers. You've worked with war cores. You've worked with what are the Malifaux people called again?
Henchmen.
Henchmen. You worked with henchmen. if GW had people, you'd probably be working with them.
Yeah, that's the one thing we found. It's like very hard to get in touch with GW.
So, but you guys are actively working on it right now, right?
Correct. We are.
So, and this is not your first year either, right?
This is year 2, so we learned a lot from last year. We're gonna make it better this year.
Okay, so let's talk about last year. About how many people did you have?
We had about 60 folks for the 2 days, and we had a painting competition with I think 26 entries.
And I was one of those entries, and I got my tail whooped because there were some amazing paint jobs going on there. You guys had some amazing attendance and amazing entries in the painting competition.
Well, that's the thing is Utah and the surrounding states. It's like a black hole type of situation. It's hard to escape that gravitational pull. But we have amazing painters. We have amazing players. They just need a chance to shine, and that's what we're trying to do. Because I mean, everybody's got their local store that they play at, and it's hard to travel. You have to justify traveling to other places. But this is a neutral ground, and we just want. I mean, 3 days of fun. What more
Yeah.
can you ask?
The great thing, all right, I was about to say the reason why there's so many great painters here in Utah is because there's nothing to do in Utah. But I'm not going to. Let's talk about the awesome things that Utah has. Is you are within 8 hours of Phoenix, or excuse me, you're about 12 hours from Phoenix. You are about you're rough from Seattle, at about 12 hours from anywhere on the California coast. Just kind of depending on like traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And so that all translates into 6 hours to Vegas. So in terms of the Southwest and just the West Coast, Utah is incredibly centrally located. It's just an hour and a half, 2 hour plane ride for everybody. And then when it comes to the cost of locations, it's fairly cheap to stay in the area. There are good restaurants to be had. Maybe that's what we'll do is we'll do a taste of Utah. We'll set up kind of like the good local places to eat, so everybody's not stuck just going to Chili's.
A bar crawl.
Do we have enough bars for that?
I think we could do a bar crawl. I mean,
or by bar crawl, you'll just be crawling around the inside of a bar.
But yeah, I mean, it's conventions are very hard things to do. For planning wise, very hard to plan. But going to them, I mean, if you're going out of state, it's very hard. Going to Gen Con, it requires a lot of planning, and their housing system is very finicky. But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of folks that I met at Gen Con the last couple of years having a real hard time wanting to do it this year because the housing and driving.
Yeah, so and that's what I like about. Can you hear me?
We're good.
Oh, sorry, I pushed a button on my headset. I don't know what I did. But yeah, that's the really great thing I think about Gladiator games is it's not this huge blown out thing like Adepticon is or Gen Con or what LVO is going to become within the next 2 years. Is you're not going to have to fight through hordes of people to get anywhere you're going. You're not going to have to, try and make your reservations a year in advance and hope that the website doesn't crash because everybody's trying to pile onto the events. You guys are a great size right now, and you're the size where you're big enough that you can really put some quality and everybody's going to have an amazing experience. But you're also small enough at this point that people aren't going to have to fight trying to have a good time.
Yeah, and it's definitely interesting. I mean, conventions are very typical that you can't do everything.
And to be fair, you won't be able to do everything here either. You know, I guess that's the interesting thing is, on one hand, you have something like Adepticon, where you have a million events happening all the time. You're not going to go and see and do everything. You just kind of got to hold on. And then on the other hand, you have something like Valhalla, which is actually also here in Utah.
Well, no, not really.
Was
Valhalla
Valhalla done
is canceled.
now? Outstanding. We'll get to that in a moment. But you have something akin to like Valhalla, where it's very small size. It's catered to just the players. Where lodging is taken care of, food is taken care of. You just show up and just play games, and they cater to you. But evidently, that doesn't happen anymore, huh?
Nope, Valhalla has been canceled this year. But that's no surprise because we saw Blue Table Painting went up or put their business for sale earlier this year in their web store.
Yeah, I'd be more surprised if Valhalla was still happening. Although I think that when you think about the way that people talked about it, there is room for something like that. And some people don't want to fight all the crowds. They don't want to have to, worry about everything. They just want to be taken care of.
What they really need is a cruise.
Yes, if only there was like a cruise with a tournament on it. Wait, something like that does exist.
What is this you
Yeah,
talked
although
about?
that. Okay, so Tom Shadle from our friends over at MayaCast, that's the Infinity podcast, are putting together a Dire Seas event, which is tentatively scheduled for about this time next year. It's going to be on a Norwegian cruise of the Western Caribbean, and at the same time, we'll have an Infinity tournament going on. So it'll be a six day cruise. 3 of those days are in port in Cozumel, Belize, and Roatan, I believe. And then then you have 3 sea days, and while you're out on sea, that's when we'll be playing the tournament.
So you find whoever it is, the top player on the boat, get him a nice glass with ice and water and then enjoy the rest of the tournament.
I thought we went very different places here. When you said find the top player, I was immediately thinking push him overboard. But
Viral ammunition
okay.
or bacterial, I
All
guess.
right. All right. Yeah, but in that case, we all lose. Because gamers aren't always known for their hygiene.
And alrighty.
So, but I think it'll be great. If you've ever been on a cruise before, it's amazing. Now, it's not for everybody, you know. Uh, but I've been on vacations where it's just me, a backpack, and I'm wandering around meeting locals and doing stuff, and that's great because it's a lot of fun finding your own way and doing your own thing and going off the beaten path. Cruises are the complete opposite. From the moment you walk on the ship, they take care of you. Everything's laid out. All the food you want to eat, all the drinks you want to drink. They have everything set. All you have to do is show up and you have a good time. And there's a lot of appeal in doing that because it is very, very relaxing. Now, you're not going to go and see like all the local stuff. You're going to see what they want to show you, and you get to do the tourist thing. You are a tourist, but at the same time, it's awfully easy being a tourist.
Very true.
There's a reason why so many people do it. So, Alan, what do you have
Yes.
anything else for us? Because I got one more cool little thing up my sleeve.
The only other thing have you looked at the Eldar release? I mean, this is going back to GW. Last couple of weeks we had the Skitarii, the new Adeptus Mechanicus, and this week we got a new Eldar Craft Worlds Codex. Models, the new model kits didn't really appeal to me at all. But I mean, did you look into it? What did you think?
Yeah, as far as the models go, it's Eldar being Eldar. I don't think there's nothing too crazy going on there. The new jet bikes look great. Uh, honestly, I think the old jet bikes looked fine too. The new ones look good. You'll blend them in a unit, and you're gonna have a hard time seeing which one is which. I think. Uh, I've been reading the new rules, and there's a lot to love there. You know, the Eldar, like the Eldar aspect warriors, are very, very cool. So I don't want to get into rules too much because we're still technically like in rumor territory. But it sounds like Banshees have been, I won't call them fixed, but I think they're at an appropriate level now. Striking Scorpions look better. I still think that they might be outclassed by some of the other stuff. Swooping Hawks look like a lot of fun. They can actually like attack flyers on their way down with haywire grenades.
Well, that'd be nasty.
Yeah. Warp Spiders. If you thought Warp Spiders were annoying before, these things are going to get really freaking annoying. You know, the fact that they can jump during the opposing player's shooting phase. Yeesh.
I've heard a lot of people saying that this might be the codex that breaks the game.
You know, we'll see. Like everybody like to complain about Eldar so much, but if you looked at all the different tournaments, Eldar were not the top seed in the last year or so. You know, they were popular and they looked very powerful on paper, but it's been Space Marines all the way around. You know, those, if you look at the top five. So I think that this will bring Eldar in line with the Space Marine Codex. Again, I'm not sure that it's going to break the game. I think that that's a lot of people hyping. They were hoping for Eldar to be nerfed, which they didn't get. But most things got a buff. But the thing is Eldar are very way that they stack their psyker powers. We didn't see any kind of buffs to those psyker powers. You know, the things that made Eldar great before remained fairly untouched. Now we're just seeing the rest, but it also meant that Eldar codices or Eldar lists were very boring. You know, you always saw the same 2 or 3 units. They spammed wave serpents. You had a Farseer, you know, like a Warlock Council, and we saw a bunch of jet bikes because those are the only things that you really cared about. Maybe a Wraith Knight here and there. But I think what they've done is they've made the rest of the codex good enough that you're going to see diversity in those lists. They're still going to be powerful, and if anything, they might be a little bit less powerful because people are going to start experimenting with different units than what they would have had before. So I don't see this breaking the game, but I still see Eldar as a big a threat as what they were. So I know I'm not spouting hype all over the place here, so you don't know what to do with yourself, do you?
I'm just waiting for you to for the next Space Marine Codex with Space Wolves and you just giggling like a little schoolgirl.
Okay, people are going to hate me. I'm going to catch a lot of vitriol for this, but I really believe that there should only be a single Space Marine Codex. I believe that you could roll Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and Space Wolves all into one codex, all like what they did with Black Templars, and you would be okay. Because when it functions already, they're, you know, you can ally with them like in almost any sort of way you want to right now anyways. So consolidate all of that stuff into a single book. I mean, it's going to be a big freaking tome, but there's very little that make those things unique. I mean, Space Wolves have Thunderwolf Cavalry, and if, they can take Cyber Wolves. They have a unique flyer. Dark, but that's it. And Dark Angels have their special cavalry and their knights. Blood Angels have Death Company guys, but you can turn that into, you can give each one of those guys, like half a dozen pages inside of the codex.
Yeah, but that's like one codex for $100 or 12 for 30 to 50.
True, GW stands to make a lot more money by keeping them separated. But you would have a lot less issues of, oh, well, so-and-so got a points reduction here, or so-and-so is the weaker codex because they were the first ones to come out, or, or this or that. It would bring a lot of balance between all the different Space Marines. And sure, you might see some more blandification of Space Wolf, of the other Fetish Marines. But I kind of like the idea of rolling them all together into one spot. And I mean, and maybe you have divisions of it, because I mean, honestly, like you can distill each one of those codices down to 20 pages. At least. You could probably go even smaller than that. But make those 20 pages all in the same book, so that everybody's consistent. And when that one book gets updated, everybody with power armor gets updated as well. So, nobody's behind.
True.
So,
I think Forge World needs more kits, though.
they need bigger kits. They need a Reaver Titan is too small. It is too small, sir. You need a bigger Titan. I want a Warlord Titan.
A Warlord or Imperial?
Okay, let's not get crazy here. Like, an Imperator Titan is like taller than me, and I'm 6 foot. Like, I'd be able to put that in the passenger seat and drive in the carpool lane.
It's an automatic I win button.
I don't know. Is that true? I don't know enough people who regularly play Titans that you know.
Oh,
Those are expensive. Like, a single Reaver Titan is what, like 2,000 points or something?
you drop an Imperator on the table. And yeah, you're just going to be like, all right, bring it.
And then you break the table. Because all of that resin is going to be like 400 pounds. So let's talk real quick about what we have seen here. A few days ago, Forge World came out with one of the little teaser videos. It was pretty, had scary music, had some cool words, but we had this image. And now, what does that look like to you, Alan?
It looks like a Night Titan, but bigger.
I agree. I think it looks like a Night Titan with even larger shoulder pads than what this galaxy already allows for. It's like a Gatling gun over its shoulder. Yeah, and my first thought was awesome, because if anybody's ever played up against Knights, you realize that they're a very short range type of unit. They need to get across the table. They need to get within close range. They typically do best with an assault. But this guy looks like he could. I was like, finally, we get a long range artillery knight. You could just stand back and shoot stuff. But people have gone crazy. They're swearing that this is a Warlord class Titan that we're looking at. So I think that they're wrong for nothing other than this scale right here. And this is not the greatest picture, but it's what I could find within like, 30 seconds on Google. So here's their current Reaver Titan. This is a kit that they sell. It costs more than most people's first cars. And they generally look really awesome. He only comes up to the waist of a Warlord Titan. So it would be a kit double the size of a Reaver Titan. And I don't see Forge World making that kit.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, a lot of these kits we've seen are back from our miniatures back from the Epic age. I mean, the Imperial Knights were Epic miniatures at one time. The Dorito or whatever, or the new Dreadnoughts, those are back in Epic. So could be. I mean, this is something. It's Forge World. They like to go big or go home.
Forge. I thought that they were silly for going down the 30K route, and especially investing as big as they have, but it's done well for them. But at the same time, I mean, there's a reason why you see, like, at Adepticon or at Feast of Blades or any of the other places, they have a big, a Titan game, because nobody plays Titans. They're so rare. And usually when you see those Titan games going on, it's a whole bunch of Warhound Titans with like one or two Reaver Titans. Just because, I mean, who knows how much a Warlord kit would cost. And so they're not going to sell a whole lot. They'll look really amazing, and we'll all see pictures from Warhammer World that will blow our minds. Because they'll actually have like real Marines like sitting in the little fortifications on the leg or something. It's a cool idea, but I think all we're seeing here is an up-armored knight.
Time will tell. I mean, Forge World's good at teasing us, and like you said, their convention's coming around the corner. So
yeah, my guess is we'll probably see something at either Warhammer World or Salute, because both of those are coming up here within the next few weeks, and we'll see one way or the other. So everybody, again, below, after you're done telling us about Feast of Blades, tell us, is this an up-armored knight, or are we seeing a Warlord Titan?
And would you buy one?
Oh, please. Everybody would say, here's the answer. Heck yeah, I want one of those. Where do I sell a kidney? Or, unfortunately, I got a house payment. Everybody wants one. Nobody's going to buy one.
True.
Don't be silly.
All right. Well, that's it for me. Do you have anything else?
That's it. Let's call it a night, sir.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next week. If you have any comments or critiques, please put them down below there in the comment section. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to see more. It really helps us out to figure out what you guys want. Anything else, Casey?
Well, just as always, if you're a company and you have a bit of information or a product, or if you're just somebody who's got a cool piece of news, go ahead and give us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get to that as quickly as we can.
Alrighty. Catch you guys next week.
This is the Atomic Salt, and we've just blown your mind.